How's it going? So, Byblis was just data mined, and I want to take a look at her skills. She seems potentially really good. We don't know if she's limited or not yet, alright? We're not entirely sure. But she has the same base stats as Lua, so bad attack, but actually really good tanky stats and really good speed. Honestly, really good stats overall for supports. And she gets effectiveness imprint, which is great. So her S1 is just like Angel, Light, and Knockwall. Same type of thing. You silence, and if they're silenced, you push back. This has the soul burn, bringing it to 100% chance, which is honestly really, really good. I think that this type of S1 is one of the strongest in the game. So the moment I saw this, I was immediately like, oh boy, not another one of these. Her S2 is a pretty interesting ability. When an ally suffers a counterattack, activates this attack. Can only be activated once per turn. Attacks all enemies, decreasing buff durations by 1 turn, and has a 50% chance to decrease defense by 2 turns, up to 70%, before increasing combat readiness of the caster by 20%. So, if you get countered by Landy, or Euphine, or Belian, or any of those characters, then she procs is stripping their buff, potentially, assuming it only has 1 turn on it, and defense breaking them. So this strips their immunity, and can defense break. That's pretty strong, because the defense broken target just kind of gets wrecked, right? And then her skill 3. So she pushes up with her S2, and then she gets to S3, right? So she attacks all enemies, decreasing buff duration by 1 turn again, so she can strip more buffs, and decreases hit chance for 2 turns, and gives a barrier to all allies proportional to their health bar. And it goes down to a 3-turn cooldown, and this ability is a 1-turn cooldown. So when you first see this, you're probably thinking like, okay, so you probably build them really tanky, and you build some effectiveness, and she's just constantly disrupting these people that are counterattacking you, right? So she's constantly being able to defense break because it only has a 1-turn cooldown, and then S3, 3-turn cooldown, so she's actually kind of being able to spam it, which is really good. Keep in mind, it only works on counterattacks, not extra attacks or anything. It's not like Rimuru, S2, or Edward or anything. But I think that she's actually a Cleave character. So her base attack is really bad, right? And if you look at her multipliers, which if you know anything about multipliers, this one's like, meh, not really amazing. And her S3 being 1 and 1, meh, not really all that great. So not amazing multipliers. But here's the thing. Let's say you Soulburn ran turn 1. Well, your opponent, if they have a counter Elbrus character, probably counterattacks. So then her S2 procs, which does a bunch of damage and also tries to defense break in case you didn't land some, maybe, because of RNG. Then she takes a turn where she S3s, doing a bunch of damage and debuffing the opponent more. And then because it's been 1 turn, her S2 can proc again. So if you don't kill with the S3, then she S2s again. So even though she might not have crazy base attack, she has a lot of potential for damage right there. And she's also supporting the team because she's defense breaking and applying mischance, so their next counterattack might be weaker. So I actually think she can be built full damage. And you might look at her artifact, which is this one. So it seems like it has some potential on her because it gives her stealth after she uses S2 or S3, and also is able to apply these debuffs, which is really good. I think if you're going like a tanky, bulky one, this seems like it could be really good to have. Or you just go Guiding Light, of course, because it activates turn 1. But I'm actually thinking use something like Iron Fan or a DPS artifact if you're cleaving. The thing is, Iron Fan has been really crappy. It got changed. Nobody wanted it, right? It was bad. But if you have a maxed Iron Fan, its text is, when you use an area attack, an attack that targets all enemies, you get up to a 30% combat readiness push with a 1-turn cooldown. So if you use S2 and you have Iron Fan, that's a 50% combat readiness push, which means you could just build Byblis like, I don't know, 150 speed or something like that, destruction set full damage. And I don't know, you could probably get 350 crit damage and like, I mean, I know her base attack is bad, but maybe like, let's just say 3,800 attack or something like that, maybe? Maybe less than that. Let's say like 3,600, right? And even though her multipliers aren't great, S2 into S3 is going to do like 1,000,000 damage, especially if you defense break them with her S2. So I think this character is going to be like Politis, where she's either a Cleave character or like a bulky disruptor. You can build her either way. I think she might have the potential for that. I think whether or not she's limited, she seems like a very worthwhile pull. Just seems like the fact that she might be usable in all types of playstyles is really strong. And I think this character looks awesome. I'm actually really, really interested in them, and I'm excited to pull them. They're coming out next week. Keep in mind, though, if they're not limited, you might want to wait until we see Blooming Litica, which is definitely going to be a limited character being shown off in 2 weeks. And so we'll have to see what happens. But really, really cool character, and I can't wait to try them out.